GJ, and welcome to Aussie Finance Chronicles, where money, history, and power collide. Right here, down under. We're not your typical global finance channel. We offer a deep dive into Australian financial history and personal finance, told entirely through the lessons of the Aussies who paved the way. We examine major local events from the gold rushes to the superannuation system to understand the forces of capital, debt, and systemic control. Every empire swears its money is safe. Every government insists its promises will last forever. And every time, history proves them wrong. From Rome to modern Lebanon, people have woken up to find their savings worthless, and their futures stolen by systems they thought were solid. Collapse isn't rare. It's the rule. The real question isn't asterisk. If asterisk financial systems fail, but how you protect yourself when they do. The illusion of permanence is the most dangerous financial mistake. We see our bank balances and assume they're bedrock. But money is trust, and trust can vanish overnight. That's why history is so brutal, yet so zephyr. Every collapse leaves behind lessons, patterns, and warnings about what truly protects wealth. And if you pay attention, you'll see the survivors weren't the ones who trusted the most. They were the ones who doubted first. Take the Byzantine Empire. At the heart of its economy was the gold solidasa, coin so reliable it became the world's reserve currency. You'd think they'd have learned from Rome's earlier disaster with the silver denarius, when emperors debased it until it was just worthless tin. But centuries later, the Byzantines made the same mistake. They began shaving the gold's purity, mixing in cheaper alloys. At first, no one noticed. Then, trust shattered. The coin that anchored trade became political fiction, watts or bibit. Not paper promises, but real gold and land held by merchants outside imperial reach. Lesson 1. Governments can't resist diluting their money, and real value always flees to assets they can't counterfeit. But collapse isn't always slow. Sometimes, it's a sudden shock. In the mid-14th century, the Black Death wiped out nearly half of Europe's population. Cities emptied, trade broke down. Yet, for the survivors, the story was different. With labor scarce, wages soared. Land, once expensive, became cheap. Families with liquidity, silver, goods, or just the ability to work suddenly, had incredible leverage. Land that cost a fortune was now a bargain. Sound familiar? During the recent pandemic, we saw a modern version. Supply chains broke. Governments printed trillions, and wealth was massively redistributed. Those with cash bought up assets, while others struggled. In the U.S., housing prices soared and stock markets boomed, while millions scrambled for rent. The rhyme is clear. Crises reward those with reserves and punish those without. Then there's the danger of institutions that look too big to fail. In the 1340s, Florence was Europe's financial capital, home to banking giants like the Bardi and Peruzzi. They lent heavily to kings, most disastrously to Edward III of England, who defaulted on his loans. The banks collapsed. Depositors were ruined. Florence was thrown into turmoil. The ordinary citizen who trusted the mighty banks learned that size is not safety. From the Florentine crash to Lehman Brothers in 2008, the lesson repeats. Institutions exist to profit, not to protect you. Survival belongs to those who recognize that an institution's promises are only good until the day they aren't. Let's bring it closer to home, metaphorically speaking. The American Civil War wasn't just fought with guns. It was a brutal financial war. Both the Union and the Confederacy printed money to fund their efforts. In the North, greenbacks flooded the economy, and inflation eroded their value. In the South, it was catastrophic. The Confederacy printed graybacks in staggering quantities. By the end of the war, inflation had hit thousands of a percent. A soldier's paycheck was worthless. Families carried bags of bills that couldn't buy a loaf of bread. Lifelong savings vanished. What held value? Land, food, gold, anything real. Protection came not from trusting paper, but from holding value the system couldn't inflate away. France offers another brutal lesson. During the revolution in the 1790s, the government issued a new paper currency, the assignat, theoretically backed by confiscated church lands. but they printed them with abandon. Soon, the assignat was worthless. Farmers refused to sell food for paper, demanding silver instead. The winners weren't those holding patriotic paper. They were the ones holding real assets. The lesson, again, is that when trust breaks, your savings don't just shrink, they vanish. Fast forward to the 1997 Asian financial crisis. It started with an attack on the Thai baht and spiraled. Thailand had borrowed heavily in US dollars, confident its currency peg would hold. When it broke, debts became unpayable overnight. Currencies across Southeast Asia collapsed. The people who suffered most were ordinary citizens whose savings evaporated and mortgages doubled. But those who held dollars or assets abroad survived far better. It looked like a local collapse, but in reality, it was a global transfer of wealth. Here at Aussie Finance Chronicles, you'll learn how wealth is built and lost by studying these patterns. History doesn't repeat, but it certainly rhymes. By understanding these failures and power plays, you can sharpen your financial sovereignty, master your money mindset, and avoid the traps that took down empires. Our mission is simple: to ensure every Aussie is equipped with the knowledge to thrive financially. As the great volcano said, being Australian is a privilege. Being Australian is dominating a great continent. Being Australian is a great power. Thank you for joining me. If this is the kind of knowledge you've been looking for, please subscribe to our channel, share this video, and hit that notification bell. Every comment and idea you share helps us create even better content for our great Australian community. It's wonderful to have you here. Let's work together for a stronger, smarter Australia. Let's learn our history to secure our future. Thanks for watching.